Hello, everyone, and welcome to On Purpose Astrology. I'm Mandy Lockley. Today I'm talking about the Sun in Aries. Sun moves into Aries, i.e., ingresses, that's the technical term, into Aries on March the 20th. And the reason why I don't usually cover in any detail the ingresses when the Sun moves into a new sign, but the reason why the Aries ingress is so important is because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac and it marks the start of the astrological new year. And I often think that the new year really starts because it's in March in the Aries ingress. The reason being that it's in tune with we're in tune with the cycles of nature. I talked in my video about the new moon in Pisces, which is a bit a complementary video to this one, really. So if you haven't watched that one, you can go and watch that before or after this. I talked about the lunation cycle, and I'll talk about where the lunar cycle is at for the Aries ingress, and it's very interesting and it's quite exciting. But the lunar cycle is in tune with nature. Of course, we follow the lunar cycle. We're following a natural cycle, whereas the calendar year, mostly we have the new year on the 1st of January. But this is the time really to start putting those plans in action. It's a real cliche that on the 1st of January, wake up tired, possibly hungover if we like to drink and celebrate, make resolutions, and then probably 2 or 3 weeks later, we've broken most of them. The Sun in Aries, the start of the astrological new year, is a much better time to make those changes, to take action. The Sun in Aries is all about action. So let's look at the chart. Let's have a look at the chart for the Sun moving into Aries. You'll see it at the bottom of the chart there in house 2, 0 degrees of Aries. We can ignore the houses really because the Sun will most likely fall into different houses depending on where you are in the world, or it will fall into a different house in your chart. Wherever 0 degrees of Aries is in your natal birth chart will be where the Sun falls. So for example, Aries for me, the Sun in Aries will fall in my 12th house. So just so that you can get a better visual and see this Sun here in this chart, it's in the second house. If you can't read a chart, that's fine. It doesn't matter. I'm going to explain everything anyway. So, as I've already said, it's the new year. So it's the time for action. It's a time for doing, really. Aries is interesting because it's just come off the back of Pisces season. And we're still in the same lunar cycle that we were when I talked about the moon in Pisces on the 10th of March, which was on the 10th of March. And there's a real step change in energy when you go from Pisces to Aries. You can see in this chart there's still, Saturn's going to be in Pisces for a while. More than a year. Neptune's going to be in Pisces for longer than that, and Venus is in Pisces as well, still in this chart. So we've still got some Pisces energy there. Venus moves quite quickly, to more or less about the same sort of rate as the Sun, not quite, but the step change where Pisces is it's flow, it's emotions, it's almost spirituality, it's about sort of unity, everyone and everything is one and it's merged. Aries it's like the birth of a child. There is something childlike about Aries, and I don't mean that in an immature, emotionally immature, and not being able to do anything or not able to think for itself or being dependent. I mean, it's that beginner's mind, it's that excitement, that joy, everything is new. Aries likes things that are new and fresh and exciting. So, under this Aries ingress, when the Sun moves into Aries, think about how can you do your own thing? How can you be authentically yourself? It's quite an independent sign. So you do your own thing. You follow your own unique path. We all should follow our own unique path, whatever our sun sign, whatever our astrological chart, we all have our own unique path. That is what on purpose astrology is all about, helping people to find their own unique path. I'm doing a talk, and advertising aside, I'm doing a talk on the 27th of April for the Academy of Astrology UK about specifically about finding life purpose in your birth chart. Academy of Astrology UK, you can see their website, AOA, academyastrology.co.uk. I don't think the details of my talk are up there yet, but I will post them anyway here in the description and on social media. But going back to Aries. Aries, whereas Pisces has this broad view of everything, likes to see everything connected. Aries has this very narrow focus that gets things done. So where do you need to focus? I think that might be the number one tip for an Aries ingress. It's going to be different if you're a Taurus. You know, Taurus isn't quite as adventurous. It's about maintenance, it's about security, and other signs as well. All the signs are different. But generally, think about whatever your sign, think about what your focus might be for the coming year, really, for the coming astrological year. What might your focus need to be? What are your desires? It's ruled by Mars, Aries. Mars is about desires. It's also about competition. But at best, there's no competition with Aries. We think about Aries as being competitive, but at best, there is no competition because Aries is so busy doing its own thing. It's not really watching what everyone else is doing. It's not copying. It's not trying to keep up or overtake. It's just doing its own thing. If anything, the leadership aspect of Aries is such that Aries is pioneering and it leads the way for others. But to go back to focus. So to be able to focus on what you want to focus, to take action on what you want to do or what you need to do, to follow your desires for this astrological new year, takes healthy selfishness. Again, this is a step change from Pisces, because Pisces, we think of selflessness. I've already said in my video about the new moon in Pisces, you've got to look after yourself. It's about self-care. Aries ingress is about self-care in a different way. It's about kind of caring about yourself and what you want. So one of the joys, one of the qualities of Aries, if you're a pure Aries, if you have lots of Aries in your chart very strong, is that you don't get distracted. Once you know that focus, once you know what you want, once you know that you're going for it, you don't get distracted. So perhaps this Aries ingress is time to think about, where do I get distracted? Where do I procrastinate? Procrastination is a sign of it being stuck. Aries doesn't want to be stuck. So the energy in the universe at the time of an Aries ingress, while the sun is in Aries, is about not being stuck and moving forward. Another thing, it has no patience. Aries has no patience for procrastination. So another thing to think about, perhaps you're the kind of person who has impatience. You want to do something, you want to do it now, you want to get it done now. So think about how you might need to work with being more patient, using that focus, taking action, taking steps, and not expecting everything to happen all at once. It's a courageous sign. So where can you find the courage to do what you think you want to do or what you think you need to do? Courage is not the same as fearlessness. Fearlessness is another trait of Aries. That fearlessness is just go for it, which can get into recklessness, which can get you into trouble. Look for courage. Courage is of a higher vibrational energy than fearlessness. I mean, none of us are truly fearless. We all have some fears. We all want a security. We all want to survive. But think about finding courage. Think about there is no courage without fear. You find courage. Finding the courage for me to get up this morning, put a bit of makeup on, sit in front of a computer and record a video that anyone in the world can watch on YouTube. Not many people will right now. I'm still growing my channel, but potentially, finding that courage, there's still that little bit of fear of like, oh, do I, you know, will I stumble on my words? Will I get things wrong? Will it not be perfect? And I've had to let go of that kind of idea that everything's got to be totally perfect. Aries doesn't actually really, and there's other things in people's charts, for example, but if you're an Arian or have an Aries moon or Mercury or Venus, etc., there's not that perfectionism that you might have with, I don't know, say Virgo or even Capricorn, for example. That fear of getting it wrong. There's the courage to have a go with Aries. So think about that. There's a courage to find the courage to have a go, to make a start. There's lots of creative energy ready to be harnessed here. You can see here in this chart, possibly, if you're eagle-eyed and you can read charts, you can see that there is a trine aspect. Yes, a trine aspect. A trine aspect from the sun to the moon, which you can see in house 7 in Leo. Trine is an easy flow aspect. It makes things easier. It's about your creative talent. So you find your creative talents. The moon is waxing, i.e. it's growing in light. So it's a great time to sort of launch something. We'd have to, there is a method in astrology which is very long and complicated called election astrology, when you can find the best time for you to start a project. But most generally, under this trine with the moon to the sun, that's a great time to sort of, as I say, start doing something creative, expressing yourself. Moon in Leo wants to express itself, right? Find the courage just to go out there and say it, to do it, to take some action. The caveat here, as you will also have noticed potentially, that the moon in this Aries ingress chart is opposite Pluto. You can see Pluto there at 1 degree of Aquarius in the first house. That makes it more difficult. There might be some emotional issues that might come up for you. Where do you need to change? What do you need to purge? What do you need to let go of? What do you need to transform energetically and in your life in order to move forward? Aries wants to move forward. The sun is moving away from Neptune. It's moving towards the North Node. The North Node is all about what we are moving into our own sovereignty. So the North Node here supports the sun in Aries. The sun will conjunct the North Node around about 2 weeks after the Aries ingress. So we're talking about sort of early April. So that's an opportunity there to sort of, double down on this idea of sort of taking action and going for what you want. It's kind of another opportunity. And there's the opportunity potentially that you might, particularly if this North Node and Sun are very strong in your chart, your connections with your angles or your planets, then might meet someone or might come across something that might help you to take action. So power and control issues are potential with this Aries ingress chart, because as I said, the moon in this chart is opposite Pluto. That might come from other aspects. Think it from other people, from the environment. So think about where you might be giving your power away. Think about where you might feel powerless. Get some help if you need to. Get some kind of talking therapy might be useful if you're really having problems with power and control. You feel like you're being controlled, you feel like someone has having power over you. I mean, we all feel that to a certain extent. We all have bosses who tell us, many of us anyway, unless we're our own boss, are telling us what to do, and trying to control how we do things and get things done the way that they like them. But if there's any issues that goes further than that into bullying or worse, then might need to sort of think about that and take action as well. But the sun certainly in a trine to the moon here, and in a sextile to Pluto, of course, that sun is also in a sextile to Pluto. is encouraging us here to find the courage to speak up for yourself. Mercury, the planet of communication, is conjunct that north node in this chart here. The planet of communication is in Aries. So again, speak up for yourself. So hopefully that's given you a few pointers for the Aries ingress. Aries invites you to be honest with yourself as well. I think that's one last little point to make. Be honest with yourself. Take some action if you need to. Forge your own path. Aries very much wants to forge its own path, needs to forge its own path. Be unique to yourself. As I said, the main thing, the big thing, I think, really is to find the courage, to take that step forward, to solve that problem, to take that action, to move into this new year with positivity. There's some great positivity in this chart, so please take away that positivity. One more thing, of course, I almost forgot to mention is at the bottom of the chart, you'll see Jupiter, Uranus. I did talk about the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in the Pisces new moon chart. But here it's getting closer. So again, that's change, it's excitement, it's new ideas, it's about wanting a little bit of freedom. So you might want to think about where you might need a little bit more freedom in your life as well. We all like to think that we have freedom and we can take freedom, even if we have a lot of responsibilities, even if Saturn is giving us lots of responsibilities, then we can still find our little freedoms, find the courage to do what you want, go your own way a little bit, take action, understand your desires. Remember that healthy selfishness I talked about at the very beginning. Forge your own path, do your own thing, and have a bit of fun as well along the way. I do hope all the best. I do hope and wish all the best for you during this Aries season and this astrological new year of itself, of course. Thank you so much for watching. onpurposeastrology.com is my website. Subscribe below if you like what you see. Thank you to all my subscribers so far. And I'm sending you, of course, lots of love as always. Thank you. Bye-bye.